The President Who Died for Pleasure, Félix Faure, Marguerite Steinheil, and the Science of Coital Death. The servants of France's most powerful residents were summoned by frantic ringing from the presidential private quarters. When they pushed open the door, they found their president, Félix François Faure, 58, leader of the French Third Republic, slumped on a couch, convulsing, barely conscious. Beside him, a young woman frantically adjusted her disordered clothing. That woman was Marguerite Steinheil. And in the minutes that followed, one of the most scandalous deaths in the history of democratic governance became impossible to hush up. Faure telephoned Marguerite that afternoon, asking her to come to the palace. She arrived through the side door, guards recognized her by now, and was escorted to his private rooms. What happened next is historically unconfirmed in its precise details, though the broad strokes were never seriously disputed. According to accounts from the time, servants heard urgent sounds and were summoned. They found the president in a grave state on the couch. Marguerite was in the room, composing herself. Félix Faure died at approximately 10 p.m. that night, several hours after the incident, surrounded by his family and physician. He never regained full consciousness. One of the most famous quips of the Belle Epoque followed, when a priest arrived to administer last rites and asked, "Is the president still conscious?" Using the French word connaissance, which also means acquaintance, a wag replied, "No, she left out the back." The whole affair became known in Parisian circles as l'affaire de la connaissance du président. Marguerite herself was nicknamed La Pompe Funèbre, a cruel double pun on funeral home, and a sexual act she was rumored to have been performing. The short, uncomfortable answer is yes, though rarely, and almost always in people with pre-existing cardiovascular conditions. Sexual arousal and orgasm trigger a cascade of physiological changes. Heart rate, blood pressure, and respiratory rate all climb sharply, particularly at orgasm. Research measuring metabolic expenditure during sex found that the physical demand reaches roughly 3 to 5 METs, metabolic equivalents of task, comparable to climbing 2 flights of stairs or walking briskly uphill. For a healthy person, this is trivial. For someone with compromised cardiovascular function, it can be lethal. The physiology of sex, heart rate, blood pressure, and respiratory rate all spike sharply during orgasm, reaching 3 to 5 METs of exertion. The German 33-year autopsy study of 32,000 deaths, only 68, 0.22%, occurred during sexual activity, with myocardial infarction as the most frequent cause. Why extramarital encounters carry a disproportionate risk? Novelty and anxiety produce a significantly elevated catecholamine response, pushing the heart harder. The rare but real risk of subarachnoid hemorrhage during sex, which modern research links to Faure's likely actual cause of death,